Hello there, and welcome to my first review for a game that I've just recently played, Invisible Ink. So, I hope that this will be done well enough so that I would be happy with the effort that I'm putting into this video. This is my first time creating a script, so I hope that I wrote a well-written script for this video. And I will not spoil anything that happens in the story, Also, there are times when I feel that I would be not lip syncing, ad-lib most of what I say even though I wrote a script, because that's just the type of person I am when I come to do these things. So, other than that, I hope you guys enjoy my review and I will start creating more videos again, even though not a lot of people watch them anyway, but I will keep on doing it because I just feel like it. I'm just lazy to edit my videos now.
Invisible Ink is a turn-based stealth strategy game from Kell Entertainment, who also created Don't Starve. You are an operator for the Invisible Incorporated, which specializes in infiltration. Pretty sure we were working there at least, not sure what though. It was hinted in the beginning at least. So while the agents were in a mission, our headquarters got ambushed by what seems like an elite squad which was sent by a corporation, though we don't know which corporation that is as it was our first time seeing them. There are technically 4: FTM, Nasdaq, KNO, and Sankaku. Our job as an operator is to guide the agents sent on the mission while we have a limited amount of time to find incognita and a new home. So the limited amount of time is basically shown before selecting a mission in the menu at least. So each mission has different objectives depending on the type of mission, which we will also discuss later. We're just talking about like the beginning of the game anyway. Also, depending on how far the location of the mission that you want to go and take, the time to move to the mission can range to how many missions you are able to do. So if you want to take a mission that's far away from your location, it's at max actually gonna be 12 hours, and at least, I'm not sure, but the least I've seen was around 2 or 4 hours. So you need to think about which mission you want, since you need to balance how many missions you can take or want to take actually, so you can get as much equipment or more agents as possible, or what you really need. So let's move on to the characters, or in this case agents. In the beginning you only have 2 agents available, but there are 14 in total. 4 which are DLC, which are on the right, which you can see right now at least. Each of the agents has their own biography, inventory, and skills. Some agents are better than others, but it will all depend on your style and which agents you are able to get, though I will caution about going guns blazing into a mission. There are consequences to being hurt, killing, and being spotted by guards, so it's best to go into a mission cautious and take the stealth approach. You can see that there are augments on agents, and this can help in assigning a role to one of them. Like an agent will be tasked with taking down guards, one can be tasked to scout, and the other can be tasked to hack or disable devices. This will all depend on which agents you are able to get and how you wanna approach the mission and which equipment you wanna give them at least. So our main boss, or not our main boss, it's like the boss of us, is Central. At least her name is Central at least, but her real name is Olivia Gladstone. She was the one who was in the opening at least, who was able to get away safely with incognita from when there was the squad taking down our headquarters. She is the one who briefs us on when we are checking out the missions or when something significant is happening. We also meet a friend of Central, Monster, who basically is like the shopkeeper where you can buy or sell. Although the things you can buy from him is nothing, and you only get a message when there is something that you can buy. Otherwise, all you can do is sell to free up storage if it's getting full. Incognita is an advanced AI created by Central, and she has her uses like you can install programs which will make her super useful. So programs I will also discuss later since we're only talking about characters now. Going back to the agents, you may notice that there are 4 skills on each agent with differing levels. Speed refers to how far the agent can move. Hacking is how much power the agent gets when hacking terminals. Strength increases the amount of items an agent can hold and how far can he/she drag a down guard. And anarchy lets an agent be able to steal from a guard, and it also determines how much of the percentage of credits they may be able to steal. So these skills can be upgraded by using credits which is gained from completing missions, and there are 5 in total which you will be able to see at the bottom when you're hovering one of the skills to see which skill you will be able to gain and the effects of it. So credits are also able to be used for buying equipment like weapons, augments, and programs. So it will depend on the mission, but you can usually use them by then, like going to a server farm would give you incognito programs. There's the vault which is used mainly to gain credits, and there's usually a storage weapon which you would be able to, not a storage weapon, it's like a storage equipment that you will be able to gain. So that's like basically for free. And if you can find a mission that has a nano fab, that's where you are able to gain equipment since, but it really wants you to give him the money. So it's best to go when you have lots of money. Let's talk about the augments. So augments are installed into an agent which will provide them with abilities depending on what's installed. And most agents have a pre-existing augment. Some augments are stackable like penetration scanner and titanium rods which will give +1 in penetration and +1 KO respectively. I'll discuss what armor KO in a bit when I go into the more of the gameplay because it's really tied to the gameplay aspect of it. And I'll just say right now, armor can be really tough to deal with if you don't have any penetration scanner or penetration weapons. Going to the enemies that you will first encounter, we will be talking about FTM, which is basically Factory to Market Wholesalers Corporation. They're mostly called FTM Corporation anyway. So in the beginning, there won't be much up against you, and it should only contain like small guards and like those cameras. But as the days go on though, they can be problematic at times because they have 2 devices which can be annoying. A scanner and a rebooter. At times there's using one of each, so it's just best to know. You'll be informed by Central when there is one. So the scanner would scan when the security level increases and it would show an agent's location, which the guards would then move to search the location. So it's best to move once they get searched. You just have to hope that there's no one nearby anyway. Moving on to the rebooter does what it says. It will reboot any hacked devices by the operator, but it's done every turn unlike the scanner. So it can be especially annoying when you're hacking the cameras and then they start hacking back, but it's only one object at least. So in my opinion, I don't think this corporation is too hard. You just have to be really fast in what you're doing and complete the mission as soon as possible. So it's just really up to you on what you want to do. Do you want to stick it around and see if you can get some more saves and be safe? Or just like do the mission quickly and just get out? Plastic corporation, in my opinion, can be tough at times also. Their main focus is mixing their guards with the mainframe, which in turn increases their armor. So it's like the more security levels there is, then the higher their armor is. So, but this won't appear until later on in the game. Just keep in mind that they can be one of the tougher ones and they can make you waste a lot of power, which can be used for other things. So my opinion with dealing with this is just avoid them at any cost, or well, basically avoid the guards as much as possible and while continuing the mission, complete the mission and also get out as possible, since you don't really want to deal with 9 armor guards. There's no way you could deal with that unless you have been stacking augments. Moving to the K&O Corporation. This corporation mainly focuses on weapons and guards compared to the other corporations. Their guards have like throwable objects like they have a scanner, boomerang, not a boomerang. They have a scanner, flat, and a flashbang. At least that's what I've seen at least. But they mostly throw scanners. There are also some guards that have these optical goggles that lets them see 180 degrees. So it's like those enemies really are rough. And my tip for them is at least lure them out somewhere while another agent goes in. So it's like you're luring the guard out of these so they're not in the vicinity of the agent. They also have little turrets around the mission, so it's best to scout beyond the doors often since you may get shot before you know it. Basically, if you move one more, they're gonna shoot you. If you wanna take down the turrets, I don't think you can. I haven't tried using an EMP actually, I've only disabled them. But if you try to hack just the turret, they'll shoot the guards, so it's best not to do that. If you can, just turn the turret off. That's my tip at least for dealing with the KNO. It's pretty easy actually. One of the more easier ones if you know what you're doing at least. And the fourth corporation is the Sankaku Corporation. They mostly focus on the more technological side, like the drone. They have a lot more laser walls that you can pass them, but they'll increase the alarm at least, so it's best not to do that. You will also notice that there are scientists roaming around at times at least, though they have like optional objectives that you can do at least. They have noise detectors on the ground, so if you sprint, they'll detect you, increase the one alarm again. Was it one alarm for the security level? So the most annoying enemy in this corporation is a null drone, because this drone won't let Incognito hack any devices within the null drone's range until the drone itself is hacked. So if you want to hack something, try to lure the drone out if it's looking at it, because it will not detect sound. All of the drones cannot detect sound. You are able to sprint in these missions, but there are noise detectors and there are still guards. There's more guards than drones at least, I would say. But the drones can be really difficult because you cannot KO them. They can only be hacked. Hacking any drones lets you take control of them for one turn before shutting down. They will reboot after one turn, so an agent can stand on top of the drone to keep it down indefinitely until the agent moves. Yeah, this also applies to guards, so you can stop the timer from counting down just by standing over them, but then the agent won't be able to move. This can be one of the easiest or hardest corporation depending on the enemies that are in the mission at least, because you can have the toughest one, which is I think the Kuma drone, which has a lot of armor and a really long line of sight. I don't remember, I think it was a 180 line of sight. So the gameplay of Invisible Ink is very similar to XCOM games, in which you move. In this case, you move an agent to a location, perform an action, move to the next agent, and doing the same process until you don't have any more agents that you don't have to move, or rather they are done performing their action, ending your turn. So you have Incognito, which can help you hack devices. Hacking costs power, and you are able to gain more power either with an installed program's effect or accessing these terminals. The amount of power gained depends on the agent's hacking skill level, so it's best to have an agent that specializes in this area. In my opinion, the best is the International, who is one of the first agents that you have access to, since she has an augment that lets her know when there are devices near her, which are hackable. This helps you scout ahead without needing to peek around, like scanning if there are turrets around, if there are cameras. Cameras really help in knowing the format of the room at least, so it's best to capture the cameras as much as possible since it lets you keep track of the guards also. So the AP, or action points if I remember correctly, above an agent shows how many actions they can do. You are able to see how far an agent can move depending on the action. Most actions don't use AP except moving and peeking around. These actions include knocking down a guard, opening and closing a door, accessing a terminal, opening safes, and using items, although it depends on the item. I think most of them don't use an AP. There are some doors that require a passcode to open, which can be stolen from guard or bank's augment. which lets her open these doors without needing the card. For the guards, they mostly patrol an area and can be different depending on which corporation you are against on the mission. Most, if not all, guards have a heart monitor, which, if they are killed, the security level would increase by 1. So keep in mind with killing them, and keep in mind on the security level. This is because it would get really hard when the level increases. There could be reinforcements, an increase in guards armor, an increase in the fire roll, and when you progress more with the story, there would be a change in patrol patterns. So, as I said before, it's best to finish these missions and not linger more, unless you're pretty daring and you need something. Oh yeah, I forgot to say, but firearms have a limited amount of times they can be fired. Some of them can be recharged after a mission, at least that's what I've seen of these. I think some of them are able to, at least on the DLC. So I wouldn't recommend using them, just stick to tasers and other equipment. And if you really want to, well, I think it's going to be hard because it would increase the security level, and I would advise not doing that. Power is essential since it lets you hack cameras, power generators, turrets, drones, and at times, guards. The guards I've already talked about before with the Plastic Corporation. You cannot go past the limit of the power reserve, so if you want to gain more power from a terminal, look around first to see if there are any hackable devices that would help you, or just not use it, because it's not gonna let you go over it. So it's best not to use the terminals immediately since they are one-time use power charger. Use them when you're running out of them. As the days progress, there will be daemons. Daemons give negative effects when hacked, like Incognita being down for a certain amount of turns, and increasing guards armor, reduce all agents AP, etc. There is also a chance, it's a pretty small chance, but there's like a daemon reversal, which will grant benefits for us basically. It's just like the reverse of daemons. Power is also used for programs, which will have different effects. It's best to get a lockpick in the beginning, which you should be able to. You will be able to use in the beginning. You'll only be able to use 2 programs, choose between 2 programs in the beginning. So lockpick is best, I would say, in the beginning since it's your main way of breaking down the firewalls until you gain more programs, at least from the server farms. You'll be able to gain more from completing server farms, which are programs that Incognita can use, and all you need is to use money so you can install them on Incognita. And I think there's only a total limit of 6 programs that you can have at a time. You can buy and resell some of the ones that you don't need anyway also. So, when an agent gets caught, it's not the end of the world. You can take down the guard as long as they aren't in the line of sight of the one that's already been caught. If an agent does go down, the mission does not end for as long as there is still an agent, they can leave the mission. Any agents that were left would be taken into a detention center, which would give a chance to either get a new agent or a prisoner, which would give like rewards or credits for getting them out. However, it does get tricky with only using one agent, so try not to use an agent. I've had that trouble in my experienced playthrough. I didn't record those. It's easier with more agents, so if you see a detention center, try to go for them, but I would advise going to one because going for an agent in a detention center, they don't have any equipment except for the pre-installed augment, so do note when you're trying to save them, at least rescue them. Also note that there are only 4 agents you can have at a time. Once you get 4, you won't be able to get another agent. The next detention centers will have prisoners or couriers instead, the ones that give rewards when rescued. So once you have 4, you don't need to go back there, unless you need easy money, but I would suggest going to Faults instead. So for the level design, all the levels are randomly generated, so no levels are the same, though some of them do feel similar if you keep playing the games, which I have been, to see how long does it take to complete a campaign, which I will discuss also later. Also, as I've said before, the levels, or rather I haven't said before, but I think it can be stated that the levels content changes depending on the corporation. So F-Team feels more like an office with all the boards, desks, and shelves. Plastic has tubes and random beds. I have no idea why. Kano feels more like a gym because there are more soldier-oriented base, guards-oriented base, and Sankaku is blue. There's lots of blues, and they have many mainframe devices. These things I have no idea what. I forgot what they are, and they seem more scientific compared to the others, since it does reflect what they are. They look nice, basically, and fit the theme of the corporation.
I will now be talking about mission types, but I feel they are very straightforward in what you're supposed to do, so I'll just briefly go with them since there are actually a lot of mission types. So the first one is the Chief Financial Suite. The mission is about taking down a VIP and then securing the data. The data would be then used to open vault doors, so it helps with unlocking the door for other types of missions. Getting the data takes 6 turns, and at some time after a while, a guard will appear to check out to see what's happening, so make sure to have an agent stand by and just take down the guard. Doing this mission will help you access the vaulted doors, so as I said before, vaulted doors will only appear on some of the other missions. Some of the missions can be cybernetic labs and corporate vaults, which at least that's what I've mostly seen. They usually contain better equipment, but there are at times I felt that it was a waste since I didn't get what I wanted. I already had some of the augments or weapons that I already have or needed, or they just weren't what I wanted, basically. It's up to you how you wanna do it. I just did this mission so I could just progress and gain more missions appearing. Moving on to the corporate vault. This mission is for earning credits. You are tasked with stealing equipment and getting out. Once you stole one of them at least, a guard will spawn and they will appear to investigate. This usually helps with upgrading your agents, getting better equipment since you do need credits to buy them. So I do suggest taking this mission in the beginning since you will need to buy some equipment at least for the other agents that you will be able to gain or save at least. Cybernetic Labs. This mission is for getting new augments for the agents. There is usually 2 augmenters, and at times there's a folded door which can give either 2 augments instead of a single one, or it may be able to remove an augment. Since those are the only times you can remove an augment, you will not be able to change the augments once you've placed them in an agent. So the augment crafter, which is their official name, they have 2 functions. It's either give an augment, you'll be able to see it, and the other one is adding another augment slot. But be mindful that when you want another augment slot, the agent will be down for 2 turns, so just keep an eye on them and make sure no guards will come by. And I think there will be no guards that will be alerted. Moving on to the detention center. This is the mission where you will be able to gain new agents or rescue a prisoner. So it's mostly rescuing agents at the beginning before prisoners have a more likely chance to appear. There will usually be a guard or 2 around the cells guarding. Note that the rescued agents or prisoner will not have any equipment whatsoever, except for the agent's pre-existing augment. When you have 4 agents, there will only be prisoners, but you will be awarded credits if they are rescued, so you can also do this if you want more credits, but I do suggest taking the corporate vaults instead. Executive terminals. This mission is for increasing the mission that appears, so it's very similar to the very first mission that you will be able to do, not including the tutorial. The only difference between the first mission and this mission is that the first mission you don't really get to choose, it just gives you a balanced option. While this one you get to choose which mission type you want to appear or corporation. You usually be able to see there's usually 4 options which you want to take, so it's just up to you which do you need. Use this to get more missions on what you need, like if you're lacking agents or equipment, or you want more programs for incognita. Nanofab Vestibule. So this is just basically a mission just gaining access to a nanofab. These nanofabs are much more, they're twice the amount than the ones found in any kind of missions. So I suggest going for this if you have lots of money so you can upgrade your equipment and sell what you don't need, gain more equipment. They usually have abundant of them, you just need lots of money. So for security dispatch, the objective is to steal the contents of the safe behind the secure door. Usually the secure door is behind a laser grid. You can bypass this by carrying a guard, which I've done more, and it's like faster since usually there was a guard around, so I just lure them in, knock them down, and then just carry them while another agent who has a passcode, but usually I don't need them since I have Banks as one of my agents. Another way is just to hack the generator that's linked to it. You'll be able to know which generator is linked to the grid just by hovering them. You'll see this thing, it's like A5 or something. Well, it usually depends on which ones. So for the server farm, this is what I've said before and I've hinted. No, not hinted, I've already talked about it in I think my programs part and incognita section. This is your main way of gaining more programs for incognita. It's basically a specialized terminal just with lots of options on like what you wanna get incognita. You can sell, buy programs for incognita, and it will just tell you what you can do. So I do suggest doing this once you gain money also. But you don't really need it in the beginning because you'll be more focused on gaining equipment for your agents.
My opinion on this game is that it was a great experience and I had fun playing it. I had fun learning from the times I failed. I have failed a lot, especially in the experience playthrough. I had fun sneaking around and just the overall spy feel of the game.
You
Are punished just for going Rambo style, so stealth is usually the best option. Personally, I too prefer the slow style when playing these types of games since I don't want people to die. Whenever someone died, I would rewind and see if I can save them. It does get super tense at times when the security level is max, everyone's chasing you, they're using these devices to scan you, and it's just really fun. And it gets your heart pumping, I would say, at least. I find the agents to be diverse enough and would give the operator different choices since they can
can specialize.
in different fields, and having a dedicated agent to a job helps greatly in completing missions. I think I may come of a bit of bias because I do like my strategy games since I think that's what I grew up mostly with. I didn't grow up with the action type of games. I grew up more of the platformer strategy games. So if you want to buy this game and expect to kill people, don't. It's not the best way to approach things, even though you are given the option to kill. It's just not the best. You'll gain more attention and the security level will rise way faster than going in stealth. I don't know what my rating will be since this is my first time doing a review for a game that I played. So I think I'll be using a 1 to 10 rating, 1 being an awful game and 10 being a good game. This 10 being a good game, being an awesome game actually. My rating will be based on how enjoyable the game is in my opinion. Are the music, story, and characters good? And does it give what is being described? In this case, it's described as a spy espionage game. So, my rating for Invisible Ink is 8 out of 10. It's a great turn-based strategy stealth game, and it can be an alternative to XCOM, which is more of the shooting aliens type. And if you want to just go with stealth, I would suggest buying this game. It gives what is described. It's an espionage game and you have to sneak around, and it's what you do most of the time. There are many agents that you can control, each of them has a different styles, which I discussed before, and can be customized with other augments and equipment. The levels are never the same since they're
Procedurally generated levels
and each corporation leads to different types of enemies that you will be dealing with in a mission. Going with my gripes are that the story can feel short. It only took me around 6 hours. I counted the hours at least done from my playthrough, my beginner playthrough. But it took me around 4 hours just skipping through the dialogue and doing the missions again. So it's not that long of a game, I would say. The game can take a much longer time if you are playing higher difficulty, which did happen to me. It took me almost a day to complete it. because like I kept having trouble so many times and I kept rewinding to see if I can save my agents. And I think that is good enough because like it is supposed to give you a challenge, and it's really hard in the beginning. I think if you saw my first video, or rather my second video on Invisible Ink, which I thought I was good enough with the experience difficulty. I was not. I just went with the beginner difficulty. There are times when it felt repetitive. I've said before, like the level, it can feel like almost the same. Not the same, just very similar to the ones that you have played at least. But I think it's only because I played the same mission type more than once. Like I kept doing the faults to gain more money. That's the only time I felt it. I don't think it's that bad. I would say that these are my only complaints and maybe different for other people who have played the game. So, all in all, Invisible Ink is a great game and delivers what it describes, so if you have played and liked
XCOM.
and would like a more of a stealth style approach, I feel that you would like this game. And although our stealthy approach is much more welcoming than shooting everything,
So, I would recommend this game if you are a fan of turn-based strategy games and want to take a more stealth approach style compared to XCOM's more I will shoot all the aliens. Well, I hope that this review was written well. It took me a while since I finished playing Invisible Ink and moved on to other games that I've been playing in my free time. And I also got a new mic, so it definitely sounds different compared to the other ones. At least I think it is. Any feedback is appreciated since I just don't want to keep doing the Twitch chat reaction since it's just basically stating content. And since it's something that just makes you remember things that you've watched as a kid. Other than that, thank you guys so much for watching my first review. I hope that I wasn't repetitive, but I think I was because like I usually do watch my review again before uploading and to make any changes if I can. I'll see you guys in the next video. Thanks for watching.